What happens from a biochemical point of view in our brains when we fall in love? Why do we experience such strong feelings when we see the person in question? Today, guys, in honor of Valentine's Day, we are going to analyze love from a scientific point of view and discover what molecules are responsible for one of the most complex sensations we can feel: love. When we fall in love, there isn't much we can do about it. We feel something extremely powerful. It's not just a simple emotion. On the contrary, it's a very complex process which activates various parts of the brain, and all these areas work together to make us experience a truly absurd time in our lives. Theorists and scientists have discovered that falling in love triggers the release of various chemicals in our brain, which in turn cause specific physical reaction. For example, when we meet the person we like, our hands will start to sweat. We may say things we never meant to say, and our heart will start beating faster. All these behaviors are caused by specific chemicals, and each stage of love is connected to a particular mix of these substances. So now, let's see what the 3 stages of love theorized by the Dr. Hill and Fisher are, and which molecules are involved. The first stage is lust, sexual desire. At the beginning, we feel a strong desire to have sex with the person in question. And this is entirely normal, even from an evolutionary standpoint. All living beings feel the need to reproduce, to pass on their genes and contribute to the survival of the species. In the case of humans, the molecules responsible for lust are the so-called sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen. These hormones are produced mainly by the testicles and ovaries. Besides sex hormones, dopamine also comes into play at this stage. It is the substance that makes us smile and makes us feel euphoric and excited. It is the neurotransmitter that makes us experience a kind of addiction to the person, pushing us to want to see them again. Dopamine, therefore, along with the sex hormones, characterize the first stage. The second stage is attraction. In this stage, we continuously think about the person. We lose our appetites and are visibly distracted. Our facial expression change, and the people around us notice that we are evidently in love. It's the stage where our priorities change. So, while before we wanted to spend time playing with friends, now the most important thing is to see her, spend time with her, and satisfy our sexual desire. In short, it's the stage where our brains send us many signals, and all of these signals mainly comes from 4 molecules. Specifically, there is an increase in dopamine, noradrenaline, and phenylethylamine, and at the same time, a decrease in serotonin. This fluctuation of neurotransmitters in the brain reduces appetite, can cause insomnia, and makes us feel euphoric. In fact, we may be so in love that we cannot longer eat or sleep. So, the so-called butterfly in the stomach feeling, therefore, has a scientific basis. But there's an interesting aspect that should be noted. The decrease in serotonin can literally make us obsess with the person because we can't think of anything else but them. The feeling seems uncontrollable, and we no longer have a clear idea of what's happening in our lives. This can lead us to focus only on the person's merits, their positive aspects, and to overlook their negative characteristics. So we can say that our irrational selves could prevail to cause us to make poorly informed choices. So that's the attraction phase, which we can consider as the infatuation phase. Let's now have a look to the last phase. The third phase is the attachment phase, also called the bonding phase. During this phase, the molecules responsible for euphoria, excitement, and the butterfly in our stomachs begins to decrease, and consequently the attraction decreases, the obsession fades, and our appetites return. At the same time, our brains begin to produce oxytocin, the so-called cuddle hormone. We want to sleep side by side, take care and protect each other, exactly as a parent and child do. In fact, oxytocin is produced by women during breastfeeding and childbirth. This molecule is therefore responsible for a phase of love in which partners want to bond, to commit to lasting relationship, and experience a sense of well-being and relaxation. The effect is very similar to that of opioids like heroin, but obviously much less potent. In short, with this phase, we transition from a crazier, more euphoric, and somewhat irrational love to a more mature love, where we seek a deeper and lasting connection. As we have seen, love itself is not a simple emotion that comes from the heart, but rather a very complex feeling that involves the release of chemicals by our brains. So the famous expression, "there's chemistry between us," is not just a saying, but actually has a sound scientific basis that explains the unusual behavior associated with falling in love. I should specify that this division into 3 stages comes from a model theorized by Dr. Helen Fisher. There are many other theories on how the typical feelings of falling in love evolve, so naturally this description may not resonate with everyone. In fact, it depends a lot on the person, their history, physiological aspect of the character. So today we wanted to describe the scientific aspects of falling in love, so the chemistry behind it. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and as always, see you soon here on Geopop Everyday Science. Alla prossima!